All right, students, we are ready for our Q&A. A number of students have actually posted questions and some are waiting to ask us questions. I thought, let me get the ball rolling since we have students from, we selectively choose the madrasahs, the SAP schools, and of course, we have a couple of mainstream schools as well. So can I throw the first sensitive question to any one of our panelists who are willing to take the question? My question is this. As we move towards a more diverse culture based on a multicultural setting, how relevant are SAP schools and madrasahs in today's context where these students may not have the opportunity to interact and engage with students from other cultural and race demographics? So any panelists will be able to enlighten us on this?
I'll give a very quick take, and then I'm sure that Dr. Lim, Mr. Amrin will have their thoughts. But again, it's always thinking about what we value in Singapore. We do value culture. We do value the preservation of culture. So if some aspects of culture are very important, then we want to find ways to be able to maintain that, to keep that. So of course, the formation of the SAP schools was predicated on the whole idea that we want to ensure that there is a community of Singaporeans who are very bilingual, especially in Mandarin. The same happens with Madrasah as a historical institution. It's been around for a long time, and there's a particular mandate that madrasahs have in terms of religious education. So in a society like Singapore, we are not an assimilative society. We don't expect every single person to assimilate into what would be the mean. Instead, this is a society which cares about integration. So it can be quite different, but there must be some places or some place you can find that common space. And this is precisely what's going on today. There's an attempt to find common space by getting madrasah students and students of other schools, SAP schools, other schools, to be able to come together to have a conversation. And this is that is an important effort. So what I think we need to think about when we think about Singapore society, just the way we've handled CMIO, Chinese, Malay, Indian, others, is about ensuring that there are good enough situations that you can have an intersection where people can be able to integrate and have common space. Going back to the issue about SAP schools, I think one of the other bigger concern and consideration which has always been raised has been the fact that the SAP schools train up the elite in Singapore. And sadly enough, many of the elite may not then have that chance to have good conversations, good encounters with people who are minorities. And the setting of the school doesn't allow a lot of it. I mean, so as a SAP student, because you don't have a lot of Muslim friends, probably very, very few. In fact, I don't think in most SAP schools would have students who, for instance, take another language or not be competent in Mandarin, for instance. Then the ability to deal with that kind of diversity in a school setting is severely lost. And so, having a lot of interns and a lot of assistants and quite a few of them from SAP backgrounds, I've noticed how some of them come out very, very upset because they went through all of their school life without an opportunity. So I think there's something to think about. I hope that SAP school system would find some mechanisms, a way to be able to allow students of other ethnic backgrounds who may not take Mandarin as a first language, maybe Mandarin as a third language or something, to be able to be in those spaces. So I do think it would enhance, particularly for, those who would in many ways be key, in key positions in our society, to be able to have that kind of intercultural encounters on a very, very regular basis, not once a year, but something very much part of your life. Quick take there. Thank you.
I think my take on this is, they are never absolutes. It is of course not ideal that a particular group of students do not have the full benefit of that exposure. But we have to balance that against other objectives that we would like to achieve. And in this case, in the case of SAP schools, you would like people to develop a core competence in Chinese culture, Chinese language, and in the case of madrasah, you want to give them exposure to Islamic teachings, culture, philosophy, civilization. And so I think while it is a slight departure, it is important that we address it in some ways, and that must also take care to ensure that it doesn't become the standard, that we don't expand it a bit more and we control the numbers as we have done for madrasas. The intake is restricted, and of course SAP schools as well. We have they are also our non-elites, our elite students are also educated in other schools that are non-SAP schools, like for instance, NJC is one very, very good school that accepts people from different races and religions. So I think as long as there are different pathways, it is all right, but it is also very important for the schools, SAP schools, as well as madrasas to know that this is a handicap that they have and to work harder at overcoming that handicap.